I'm going to start this video by dropping the sentiment that it is genuinely good to see CD Projekt Red continuing to pump support into CP77, considering it would have been an utterly despicable move for them to jump to other projects such as The Witcher 4, and to completely abandon or turn a cold shoulder on the millions of gamers that picked up Cyberpunk at launch in a very unsavory condition, especially if you were unfortunate enough to be on console, as the base PS4 and Xbox One were averaging around the 20 frames per second mark under 1080p, and that's if the game was playable and not constantly crashing due to game-crippling bugs and glitches. This game's been out 1 year, 8 months, and 3 weeks, so almost as long as the current generation consoles, and it's good to see Night City and Cyberpunk 2077 getting closer to the original vision of what the game was supposed to launch as. It's the same thing we saw with No Man's Sky, which launched as No Man's Buy. It was atrocious and looked nothing like what had been advertised, or Sea of Thieves, which actually has a good concurrent player base now, even though it launched in terrible condition. I have a couple of articles pulled up with some pretty highlights that will be sourced or cited down there in the description below, as I do anytime I cover any news in the gaming community or industry. This is going to be the last patch or update for the PS4 and Xbox One, and it is going to be a big one. That's what she said. Never, unfortunately. The update is available for download today on all platforms. So the bluff or bottom line up front, the little engine that could, the Xbox Series S, is getting a performance mode that will target 60 frames per second. Granted, that does dip down to 800p. There's going to be an official modding tool built into the game. Even though the game has had a large PC modding community thus far, they've been doing it without support from the developers. They've also added a new Transmog system, so those of you that play MMORPGs know what that is. It lets you change the cosmetics or appearance of a piece of armor or gear without changing its stats or effects. Now, this update, as well as the first and most likely only DLC or downloadable content expansion pack that we're going to receive, this is going to be some of the last support pumped into the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which in my opinion, this game should have never been on those consoles. I understand that this game was announced and began development during the life cycle of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Even the midlife refreshes of last generation's consoles, the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, didn't have the graphical grunt to push this ambitious game world. Yes, I understand the Grand Theft Auto 5 and Saints Row played phenomenally on last generation's consoles. This game isn't optimized as good as those titles, for one. Two, it came out nearly 7 years later. I mean, shit, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013 on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, so this is a more modern title. It was so bad that they actually pulled the title off the PlayStation Network and the Xbox Store. You couldn't purchase them. Now, this is probably the biggest feature that they're adding IMO, or in my opinion, you now have cross-platform saves. So the example that the journalist at The Verge gives is that you could load your Steam Deck save game file on your PS5 and pick up exactly where you left off. That's pretty cool. The small caveat to that is if you're in one of the regions where the game's content is censored, such as Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, or Japan, you can get effed. Now, more detail about that mod support, it's actually called Red Mod, and it's a tool that's going to be integrated in the game. Now, there's been support for the PC modding community for about a year, but it hasn't been from the developers. It's been from forums and third-party websites where you could download and install mods for the game. The new official tool will help people manage, install, and create mods. And you can add your own sounds, animations, and scripts to the game. So heavy modification of the game files. As mentioned earlier, the Series S is aiming to hit 60 frames per second while fluctuating dynamically between 800 and 1080p. I know 800p sounds atrocious on the resolution scale for 2022, and it is because most modern televisions are rather large, so that's a very large base canvas to stretch out an 800p image. The pixel density is not good. But I'm just glad to see the little 4 teraflop Xbox Series S doing shit with Cyberpunk. That is a good console, by the way. I'm not bad-mouthing it by any stretch of the imagination. I have a lot of praise for the little Series S. Some of the content added in this new 1.6 patch, including new weapon equipment and photo mode features, will tie into the upcoming Cyberpunk Edgerunners anime that's premiering on Netflix next week. I definitely didn't just hear about that for the first time right here. I've known about this. For people who are fans of CDPR's other major franchise, The Witcher, there's now an in-game arcade cabinet that lets you play a game featuring Geralt's horse. And yes, that's in Cyberpunk 2077. If you've been around the YouTube channel and my Twitch live streams for quite some time, you know that I bought Cyberpunk 2077 at launch. I streamed it for the first 48 hours quite extensively and then set it down, never picked it up again because it was a busted hot mess. It was playable on PC. I did run into a couple of progress stopping bugs or glitches where I had to reload my save file, but it was just a big serving of disappointment for me with a side of, I don't want to play this right now. And I proclaimed that I was going to wait for 2 things to happen. At the time, I had a mid-end PC and I said I wanted a real balls-to-the-wall GPU to push the graphical performance to the wall and show me Night City in all of its glory. That's been done. We built a high-end PC on the channel. You saw all 4 parts of that build. I know you did. If you didn't, there's a playlist titled PC Builds. Then last but not least, this is actually the biggest, girthiest, thickest, veiniest one. I wanted to wait until the developer got the game closer to its original vision, so my first playthrough is what it should have been originally when the game launched, because it was rushed, despite the fact the game was in development for like 7.5 years, and delayed multiple times. It was still rushed, should have been delayed, wasn't, but now we're getting around the time frame where the game should have been released, which I know is crazy because we're almost 2 years down the road, but I do believe that it is about time for me to play this game again. I don't know why I said it like that, like William Shatner pausing between each word. My PC's been free of its game files, but I'm gonna install it, and I'm probably gonna stream it live. But I think it's about time for me to jump back into this game because those two prerequisites, I would say, have been met. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I want to play through the core game now before the DLC comes out, or if I want to wait for the launch of the DLC, which isn't until 2023. I don't really want to wait another half year to full year to play this game again, so I'll probably play it now. Then when the DLC drops, maybe play that expansion, just those extra missions or quests. Drop in the comments section below if you're still playing Cyberpunk 2077, if you picked it up originally, if you're going to in the future, if you don't give a crap about this game. We get a conversation going down there in the petri dish of bacteria called the comment section, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. Check out Into the AM for some of the sickest looking and most comfortable cloth to ever grace my gaming giblets. If you don't want to be scorching your corneas with harmful blue light, check out Gamer Advantage, the only blue light glasses on the market that look sexy and actually work. If you're looking for a custom controller that'll blow the competition's tits back, AIM definitively has the best bang for buck or price to performance when it comes to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch controllers. Nope, they don't do Switch, but they do gaming mice. I said doo-doo. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. If you need a quick laugh or blast of gamer adrenaline, check my short form videos out at TikTok. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of Gamer Heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number, and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.